Hey guys, welcome back to Ratchet Bills. Today we're going to be working on my Honda Racher four-wheeler. It started off as thinking that it was a bad carburetor, and it slowly moved on to being a motor. Let's get into this video and I'll show y'all where I started and where we ended up. Story behind this used to be actually my dad's four-wheeler. It was sold, and it is, in a long story, it circled back around to me. It was running when I first got it. I actually drove it up to my house, took it for maybe a 3-minute drive, parked it, turned it off, went inside, came back out like 10 minutes later, cranked it back up to pull it into the shed, and it never started again. Right now, today's goal is just to get the carburetor done, see if we can get this four-wheeler cranked back up, and let's get on it. Carburetor is now installed, air filter is on. I just got to turn the fuel back onto it, get this carburetor filled back up. But right now, I just want to see if it'll fire up or not. So here we go. I've got to readdress this issue and I'll be back with y'all. Alright, so it's been a while since I last worked on the Honda Racher. It's been about a year. I got the parts ordered, life got in the way, and I never got around to finishing it. So today, the plan is, or for the next couple of nights, the plan is start getting this thing tore down, get this motor taken apart, and start figuring out what I got to do to put the new parts on. I don't know where I left out on the last video. Hopefully this comes across in edit just fine. But I know I took this cover off, and the biggest issue I have, please don't fall. There we go. The biggest issue I have is that that arm is supposed to be tight against that valve right now. So I know there's something going on with my head, and that valve is more than likely bent or something like that. Now I did get a whole jug kit for this, so it should be like the head, the valve train assembly, piston, everything that I need to completely redo this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab all the new parts, get them laid out over here, and see what we're working with so I know what I need to also take off. So I've got my box of parts here. Some of it is the stuff that I took off that we're just gonna go ahead and lay to the side. I left some of my plastics and everything over in the other shed. Oh, that's the other thing. I moved the four-wheeler from the other shed into this one because this one's actually got power and lights. Makes it a little bit easier for recording. I've had it for a couple of months now, and I just haven't unboxed or pulled anything out of it. So I'm not even sure what all I have in here and what I ordered anymore. But I know I ordered a whole bunch of little stuff, enough to rebuild that engine supposedly. So we're about to find out, go through here and see what we have. And then that way I can get an idea of what I need to take off. Sorry about the viewing angle. I really don't have my shed set up well for recording yet, but eventually I will get there like I've done in my other studio. Let's see what we got here. So I believe this is, I don't know if this is what they call the jug or the cylinder, or so this would be your not your piston, but your cylinder wall and everything, where the cylinder goes in and out of there. A nice piece of aluminum. It's got some nice hashing on the side of it, nothing special or anything, so that looks good. It looks like it's going to sit down into the motor a little bit here, so I'm going to have to see what it takes to get this pulled out. That looks okay, so I know that has to come off. That's probably the lowest thing that I've got to take off of it. Also note here, I've never rebuilt a Honda four-wheeler or any kind of four-wheeler or small engine before. I mean, I can't imagine it's too much different than doing a large engine, so hopefully I'll be able to do this. So this is the next part here, which is the, that shoved through the box. I hope that didn't damage anything. Let's see, this should be the head. That's gonna hold all the valves and everything. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice new head, brand new valves in there. I don't see no marring or anything. Nice smooth mating surface. So, head, spark plug goes there. I believe, well, that's the piston rings. Some kind of little clips. Oh, that's for the, I don't know actually. I don't see how that works, but There's my collar that goes in between that I put this piston onto the rod. Nice looking piston though. All aluminum. Just a very light too. Man, that is real light. I didn't realize four-wheelers had 3 rings like a car, so we'll have to put the rings on it, make sure we do those in the right order. So should be compression, then the oiling ring here. Got to counter set them, and then also I need to look up the specs of what my ring gap's supposed to be on this. Or do I just yellow it and kind of throw it together and just hope for the best? Probably going to yellow it, because this is my first time. It ain't going to be exactly perfect. If it just runs, I'll be happy. So we got a brand new NGK spark plug here. This is everything we need to get done. So let's go over to the four-wheeler and look on what it's going to take to tear it down. Alright, so taking a look at the four-wheeler here. I know my exhaust is going to have to come off. I know this head comes off with these 4 bolts here. Or is it just 2? Oh no, there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got to reuse this piece with the rocker arms on it, so we'll have to figure out how to adjust those. And hopefully the rods that are back there in the back here are not bent or anything, so I can reuse those. Carburetor's got to come off. Hopefully this rubber piece doesn't break, because I don't think I bought one. This is a new carburetor on it. I don't know if I'm going to run it or not, because I kind of messed around with it a little bit. I don't know if I might have misadjusted. So box, carburetor, exhaust. I think that's it. I think that's all that's got to come off. Oh, and then of course my jug here. So that's what these 10 millimeters are. So hopefully I won't be getting into the bottom end once I do get the new components on. Gonna go ahead and drain all the oil out of it, put fresh oil to it, and probably be lubricating some of those parts. Oh, this one's actually got the pull start on it too. I forgot about that. Oh, I just turned it over. No. See how that's now tight? Because it's trying to push down. Oh, wait. I might can even show it. There it is. See how that spring didn't come all the way back up? Now watch this is the one that's messed up. See our gap that we have there and the looseness? So let's look at the other side. Watch it. So it presses all the way down, then comes back up. That one presses down, comes not all the way back up. So something's wrong with that valve. I'm really excited. I can't wait to get the head off just to see what the damage is. All right, so I'm gonna set y'all up over here, get y'all into a time lapse, and then I'm gonna start tearing this thing apart. So I don't know how much I just recorded of that, but I've got the head off now. Took me a second to get it off. I did have to take the intake grommet over here off so I could clear that center beam. Now I haven't flipped it over to see what's wrong with it yet. If you can see there, oh man, you really can't. The spring, this one's still setting down and this one's setting up. So let's flip it over and see. And what is that? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh man, you will never believe. I probably didn't even need to buy this other stuff. How did that even happen? Okay, so let me show y'all what's going on here. I can't, oh man. This is great, but also kind of sucks at the same time, because I might have could have fixed this without ever buying all these new parts, honestly. So let's, I'm sorry, let's just get to it. Oh man, I hope this shows up on camera. I don't know how well you're going to see that. See that little piece right there? There's a little piece there. And there's a little piece in there. Now, whenever I was doing the testing on this, I did take my bore scope, a little small one, and ran it down through the spark plug and kind of looked down in there. I saw that the valve was sticking open. That's what made me take the top of the head off. Do y'all know what that is? If you do, leave a comment down below. No cheating, don't fast forward. And I'm about to dig it out and show y'all what it is. And it's stupid, and it's probably something I did. Normally you'd use a spring compressor on this or something like that. I'm not going to. I'm gonna try. How did it even get in there? Oh, so that's how it got in there. That's a big enough hole for that to get in there. Well, I didn't even do any work to this four-wheeler now that I think about it. I literally got it, drove it a couple of feet, played around with it just a little bit, was letting it idle. I can't remember actually. I can't remember if I was letting it idle or if it was if I already turned it off. So I'm not gonna lie about that. But I know that it wouldn't start back up when I got back outside. Generally, whenever I pull up to my parents' house, because I know I'm not gonna be there very long, I generally let it stay running. So it just shocked me if I actually turned it off. But also, it was kind of one of those things where I got to their house and I knew I was going to have a longer conversation than normal. So I may have turned it off. I just know whenever I came back out to try to leave that day, it wouldn't run. Luckily, my parents' house isn't very far from my house, so it wasn't that far to try to push it back home, but it still sucked. Oh, there's one part of it. I got one part out. Let's see if I can get the second one to come out, because I don't even know if I can open this far enough for it to, I mean, it's got to come open far enough. It got in there, right? So I wonder if I can get a C-clamp around this. Yeah, let's try that. Oh, and I'm already hitting the valve right there. Okay, so I need something to gap that out with. If I can gap this up just a little bit, I think I'll be all right. We'll use an old brake pad. There we go. This is some backyard stuff. But that's okay, because I am working at my house and my backyard. Well, front yard. No, technically my backyard. Oh, it's moving. It's going down. Oh, it moved. Did it move enough? Okay, it's just enough so I can make and do a little shimmy here. Alright, so there you go. If you want to compress the valve on your head, on a four-wheeler at least, C-clamp, a brake pad, and bam, it is opened. Showing there. Now my valve is closed. And if you look at my springs on this side, they're both equal now. So you may want to know what's in the head. What was holding that valve open? Well, I'm about to show you here. So this four-wheeler just came back from the repair shop, and I'm guessing they did something with they actually did the carburetor on it is what they did. And I'm guessing they lost one of the plastic clips that hold like the fender and stuff on. Either they ran it without the filter being in place or something like that, but this right here, this little guy is what was stuck in there. So the piece that goes inside that spreads this apart was actually sticking up out of the valve, and then this was stuck just on the corner of this right behind the valve. That is my whole running problem with this four-wheeler. The whole entire running problem with it was because of this stupid piece of plastic that made it into the intake. I'm not even sure how it made it past the carburetor, so that makes me think that when a carburetor was off is when this part was probably dropped down in there. Now there is a possibility it still can make it past it, but I don't know. It seems unlikely to me unless you're full throttle. Well, well, I was full throttle a couple of times there. It could have still been me, but you know, I hadn't worked on it yet. I literally picked it up, drove it to my house, unloaded it, drove it to my parents' house, and then that's whenever it cut off. That's whenever it stopped running. Oh man. So now there's the question here. Do I put it back together with the old head, or do I put it back together with the new stuff? I've never done the new stuff. Never done the old stuff either. But if I screw something up with the old stuff, at least I still have new stuff to repair it. I don't remember it burning much oil or anything. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go look at the jug real quick, or the cylinder for it, and see on how bad the cylinder looks. If the cylinder's all scarred up and nasty looking, probably going to go ahead and go with the new stuff. If the cylinder looks okay, I'm probably going to go back with the old stuff, and I may even go back with some of the old gaskets just to see if it runs. I don't know, guys. It looks like I might go back with the old head. I got a little bit of heating right there. I don't know if you can see that discoloration. There's a little bit of heating right there on that side, but I don't really see any scoring marks in here or anything like that that sets any kind of red flags. Kind of ran my finger down it and around it, and I don't feel any kind of ridges. It's actually really smooth in here. There's a little bit of carbon buildup right there at the top. Man, that actually feels really nice. I think I'm gonna go back with the old stuff on it And if it does, great, then I'm going to run it until something does happen to it, and then I've just got extra brand new parts for it. If it breaks down, then at least I can rebuild it at a later date. I can cover this stuff in some oil, put it back in the bags and stuff like that. That'll keep it nice and fresh, which I don't know if this is aluminum or steel. Let me get a magnet. That's one thing I have no clue what I'm even working with. So, oh, so that's steel right there. We got a steel on the cylinder. That's aluminum. So as long as I coat this up good with some oil and stuff like that, some WD-40, maybe some grease, this as well for the valves so they don't rust up, then I can store these until I need them. But I'm really thinking about doing this on a budget. I'm thinking about going back with the old gaskets. I shouldn't. I want to. But, I mean, I do have brand new gaskets here. I'm probably going to finish this up tomorrow of putting it back together, but for now I'm going to throw some rags down in that hole right there, keep it all nice and fresh, and I'll see y'all tomorrow just like this. I did a little bit of research last night, and the head gasket set for this motor, it's only going to cost me like 12-13 bucks, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the new gaskets on it. I did go through some of my documentation that I had, and I actually have all the torque specs and everything for all the bolts that I need to put back in so I can put it back together with proper torque. And it even goes all the way down to the small 10mm bolts, which is awesome. So for right now, what I'm going to do is get the rest of the motor taken apart because I want to do that lower gasket as well. And I'm going to go ahead and clean up all the carbon deposits off of this. I'm trying to decide. This thing comes with the valve stem seals in the package. I'm trying to decide if I want to actually take the head apart real quick, go ahead and at least do the valve stem seals in it or something like that, or just go ahead and run the other ones. This four-wheel wasn't smoking whenever it was running, so I'm like half and half if that's what I want to do or not. I mean, it's not too hard to get these off. I do have the keeper tool. But for now, let me go ahead and get the four-wheeler the rest of the way apart, and then we'll start going back together with it. All right, let's go. With it all taken apart, I'm gonna go ahead and take this and put this over here onto my workbench. I'm gonna go ahead and get the honing device out and go ahead and get the cylinder honed out. Mostly just trying to get rid of, let me see if I can catch it at a right angle, that carbon buildup right on the edge. Go ahead and get this thing all polished back out, cleaned up. Then I just gotta make sure that these stay in the proper place, and then we'll take this gasket off, get the new gasket put onto it, get this all cleaned up. Carbon, I'm going to try to get off as much carbon here. Now that I've got the gaskets all cleaned off of the head here, so we got it all cleaned up here. All the gaskets now missing off the back side. I'm going to get my honing device, and we're going to go ahead and try to hone out that center hole there. So this is my honing device right here. It's just a couple of polishing blocks that are sitting on this adjustable piece. So what I like to do is not try to pinch myself, for one thing. I spray a little bit of WD-40 down in the hole just to give it a little bit of lubrication, and that way it's not digging into it. And then I also need my drill. I just realized I don't know where my drill is. There we go. We put this on the drill, then it'll spin. So now what I do is I pull these down. And I'm just going to set it right there even of the cylinder. And I'm just going to go up and down with it. Stones have done their job. I'm going to wipe down the inside real quick, make sure it looks nice and clean. If it's not, then I'm going to do one more pass. I'll let y'all take a look down in here. So I don't know if you all can see it on camera. There's one little scrape mark right there. But other than that, looks nice. My edge is all nice and cleaned back up. So what I've done now is I've went ahead and did my washers and nuts on everything. It's all just hand tight right at the moment. So what I'm going to do is get the torque wrench, start torquing these down one by one. And then once we do those, I'll tighten these down. Then we're going to set our valve clearance on each one of those, and should be ready to put the rest of it back together. All of my electronics are still together, so this thing should be able to still run even with everything taken apart. Once I get it running, Then I still got some more testing to do. So another issue this thing was having is it wasn't going through all the gears. It'd kind of get stuck. I think it was in third, and then you couldn't downshift or upshift anymore. All right, guys, here's the part that I've been waiting to do. I've got the four-wheeler halfway put back together. I don't have the plastics on, obviously. I got the exhaust on. I don't have the intake fully installed, but enough here to possibly let it run. I've already put about a gallon or two worth of gas in there, just enough to fill up the carb. I had to put my jumper box on it because the battery's a little bit too weak to turn it over. So we're going to sit here and see if it cranks up. Oh, mother. On idle. Let me go mess with my idle screw real quick. I think right makes it go faster, left doesn't. This is a brand new carburetor, so it hasn't been adjusted or anything since it got put on here. So we're gonna go about 2 turns in, crank it back up. All right, it's running. All right, I'm gonna let it sit here and run for a little while and let everything burn off. Then I'm gonna try to get it out of the shed and take it for a test drive. Y'all hang with me. I got it running pretty good. Smoke finally stopped coming out the tailpipe after running it for about 15 minutes or so. I've already kind of got it up to operation temp. I want to take it for a little ride real quick and show y'all what I'm talking about on the shifter. So if I take it for a little bit of a cruise here. Let's see, now I've gotten some speed up in it. Let's see. Oh, it's still shift. What is going on? Alright, so apparently I had to get a little bit more speed on it. Right now I am in 5th gear. If I push my button, it's not wanting to shift. So supposedly this is something going on with one of the sensors on it. So it's another thing I've got to get fixed. Oh. Well, let me get this thing back up to the house, then we'll go over it real quick. Back to the shed. Whew. Alright, so as y'all can see there, whenever I'm going through all the gears, once I get to a certain speed, it kind of just the ESC stops working on it. Now of course this one's got the manual shifter on it as well. It's a little add-on arm that I can bolt to it, then that way I can manually shift it. But right now I want to get the ESC working. So I've got 2 different parts here that I got for it, and this is probably in the next video, but I've got a new thumb switch here, and then of course I've got the bypass harness. So I'm going to start off with the thumb switch, putting that on there, just see what it does. I may not even bolt it all the way up, just, you know, set it in my lap or something, but that'll be in the next video. For now, it's back running and driving, which is my biggest accomplishment. Never worked on 4-wheeler motors before, or engines, sorry. So that'll be my first one. It's actually a lot easier than I thought it was, like way easier than I thought it was. Car motors definitely have a lot more to it. Thank y'all for watching. If y'all like this video, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.